Good morning. Cynthia Harrison here from Rhombus Healing Arts. Let me just record to get started. Welcome. Okay, we're going to start off with the gong while we wait for some people to turn up on. We're a little early. 1 minute. 1 minute early. 1 minute early. Okay. I'm just going to do the gong and then we'll get started. Ready or not, here we come. Okay, so there's some people coming on now. Just take a breath. There we go. Take a breath and just reflect on where you are right now. As you come into the room. Just noticing if you're rushing to be on time or you need to be in 5 places at once. Maybe 6 today. Just give yourself this moment. Another breath. Arriving. Arriving in more ways than one. Now, let me just shift this sound so you don't hear my background noise. Okay. Welcome. Better late than never, Rebel. Better late than never. She can't hear me yet. All righty. Hey, Lisa. Sorry about that. We did change the time, and I saw that you went on earlier, so that's why I sent you a little message. I couldn't send everybody a message. So hopefully you find me at some point. We're on at 10 last week as well. I've shifted it because 9:30 or 9:30 was a bit more of a rush for me because of my morning routine and whatnot. So we'll see how it goes, and I'll talk to you about how the timings fit and whatnot going forward. Today, how are you? Really? Oh, my eyes are watering. All right, I've got some stuff to tell you, yet I don't even know what to tell you. There's so much. I get shown something and it's so broad and vast. I'm like, oh my goodness, where do I even start? So I'm going to start at the beginning. Interesting. You two ladies are in the same color. So where's MA? Where's MA? Where are my ladies on Zoom? Anyway, we'll get started. And so over time, so firstly, I'm going to start here with, and then we're going to go into the mysticism of it. But this Friday, so I'll do my call out now. This Friday, we have the free workshop So wherever you're watching this from, go into the details and you'll see the link for the Mini Cloud Odyssey. So it's this Friday. And this Friday, links, look, it doesn't matter what you believe, the energy of the time is showing you it. I went looking for the science of what I'm talking about, and I have some pictures on my phone, but I mean, you can go and Google it yourself. And I used to track the magnetics of the earth purely because when I was navigating my own abilities and the spiritual teachers around me had no idea what was going on. So I pretty much had to figure myself out myself. And that's why I show up for you. That's why I show up. I have for so many years now. And share things, but also am available for you to ask questions. Because a lot of the stuff that, you know, when you're starting out, I don't talk so much about unless you remind me, because I'm no longer there. Does that make sense? So I as a mystic, I'm sharing my direct experience of the world, and I'm modeling to some degree, you know, that the how, right? So just putting that there for those of you who are in a space where you have no idea what's going on and you're hearing about all this different information, you don't know what to believe. I'm just for right now, belief systems, you know, they assist us. They do assist us. Sometimes they can get in the way. So the program Cloud Odyssey is, you know, the large 6-month program is to help you. It's quite a therapeutic program for working on, you know, the depths and the layers of who you are. And this time that we're in, I'm going to try and break it down a little bit and see if you've got questions and whatnot. We can open that up. It correlates because everything that comes across my everything, you know, absolutely everything. Even, you know, I'm looking at you, and oh, figure eight's changed. Did you do that on purpose to see if I was aware? You did. I love it. You know. Okay. I did. Anyway, all right. Awesome. It works either way, but interestingly enough, what I'm talking about today, that relates more to, because what I want to share with you now, I'm jumping all around, and that's what I do. I'm a circle and not a line, but I'm going to bring you the circle, and then I'm going to bring you the line, right? So the feminine and then the masculine, or a little bit of both wrapped all up together. So as I said, it's not even that I get information. I am the information. You are the information. We are it. And when we have that stillness, or the capacity at times to be still enough to hear and observe what's going on, you'll see it. You may not fully understand it. You don't need to. Does it make sense? Because we could say the animal soul, the aspect of you that wants to control and is in survival, right, will push what's happening out of the way, or want to know all of this information. Okay, so that goes from your survival ego to your spiritual ego, but there's still an aspect of yourself that isn't fully coupled. So we're talking about, in this point in time, we have the opportunity to couple those aspects of self. So the figure 8, so those of you that aren't on the Zoom can't see what I'm seeing. I don't know whether I should say your name or not, but anyway, I think I just did before, didn't I? I was like, whoa. Anyway, so Lisa, when I, she's a regular, she's part of our community, and she has this 8 symbol behind her on the wall, and it draws my eye all the time because what we're talking about is love and fear, which is the infinity, and the cross in the center, which is the 5, which is relevant in what we're going into in the coming days, which, by the way, is at its pinnacle Friday, Saturday. Friday is the free offering. Started last week when I did Healing Grace. Okay. The 2 bookends of this time where we can couple. So the 8 usually is on the wall like an infinity. Today, I don't even think you knew this, Lisa. Did you consciously? Or you're like, I'm just going to play a trick. And happen to, see, that's your intuition. And I happen to put it because I'm talking about coupling. So we have love, fear, but within us, it's the higher, lower, or the animal, angelic, or the 2 triangles of, our survival sort of feminine vortex and our masculine vortex into our more intuitive ways of knowing, right? And we can get caught up in the ego of both of those. Spiritual ego, which will hold you back from your magnificence, which again is so relevant to this immediate point in time this week. But we also started with, what did we start? What was the date of did I write it down? The Ring of Fire, the solar eclipse, right? Solar eclipse was the 2nd of October. The bookends, right? Solar eclipse. The sun. The lunar eclipse is the 17th. What do we have on the 16th? The 16th. Bear with me with numbers. There's something going on the 16th, but it's probably not. The name of it's probably not relevant for you, but for those of you that have been around for a while, yeah, it's the first days. We go into another system, but the name of it won't be meaningful for most of you. So what is here for you to receive right now is that regardless of what tradition it is, regardless of what it's called, you have the opportunity, because remember, we're at the crown of time, okay? The realm in the body of time is at the head. The head is closest to source, right? The crown, the will. And you know that over time I've spoken about your or our human, what would we call it? We think we have free will at these other aspects. The will to be free is accessible here. The will to be free. The will to be free of what? And I was going to go into this in the mastermind, but I'll touch on it now, because, and we will go into processes where we can start to put some action into this. so that you can get the results of the free will to be free, right? In the energy of this time. So if we look at nature, we've had the ring of fire, and then we've got at the other end, you know, the partial, it's not a full lunar eclipse, but it's a almost lunar eclipse, right? It's not a full lunar eclipse. Why is that important? Why is the sun and moon important? Well, the sun brings life, creation, right? Without light, you know, so we need the sunlight. If the sun is too close, if that energy is too much, it burns us up, yeah? If we're out in the sun for too long, we burn. It gets hot. We have some more difficulty being with the sun. It's a reflection. It's a reflection, okay? Because maybe some of you haven't heard me say this before, so I'm just going to say it again. That there's different aspects of light. The sun is just one aspect of light. Primordial light is too much. It would burn us up. Primordial light meaning Ein Sof, all that is no thingness. Too much energy for the little human. It has to be transduced down like electricity, you know, from where electricity comes from, into the wires, into the capacitor, you know, all of that down into, you know, and into our house, all the different wires and all the different junctions and whatnot. My daughter's an electrician. My cousin is a high voltage wire person, you know, those ones that hang off helicopters and stuff. Oh man, I can't even watch. She sends pictures. Man, I have always had a fear of electricity. I understand it now, but I didn't when I was younger. I used to flick the lights on, the light switches here. You've got to press them, but in Australia, they're really easy to turn on, and I would flick them because I always got zapped. Whatever I was always getting, you know, if I put my hands on you, I get electrocuted, right? You know, I get electrical and I sweat and all sorts of stuff. So energy has always been in my, like all types of energy has been, you know, I have feared it, not necessarily in a bad way. No, it's not good or bad. It's just a respect. So it's interesting that my youngest daughter became an electrician. And what she works on, she sends me photos and all that. I'm not scared of it now. I'm not scared of it now because I understand it, the wiring of our house, right? I understand electricity and the wires in relation to how I understand the body systems. And I understand the body systems intimately. I've studied the human nearly my whole life, right? From about 8 years old, and then professionally, you know, at university, all the rest of it. Why? Trying to understand us. So we have a vessel, this body, where we can receive, and we can, well, I call it a transceiver because we can receive and emit. So we have the sun, and the sun has the light that we can see, and it has an inner essence, an inner light. And how do you think, if you do at all, think about this sort of thing, that we can access that or become aware of that inner light? Do you have an idea? I'm just going to check while you have a little think about that. So those of you that are watching, I can see all the chats on the restream. That's what I'm looking at now. So if you want to add anything in there, I can see that. So I'll pop back and forth from the different screens I've got up here. All right. Anyone? It's just to keep me entertained, right? It's you know, I like to. Oh, Miss Kim, where are you? Hey, where are you watching from? Yeah. All right. So are you writing? Looks like you're writing. Are you writing in the chat or are you writing in your books? Anyway, all right. So I'm going to tell you for one of it. Through the moon, the reflection of the moon. So the sun's inner light, the subtle light, that, right? The moon has no light. The moon has no light of its own. They say the Shekinah has no light of her own. Controversial, maybe. There's no separation between the mother and the father, or Shekinah and Hashem, or, you know, the masculine, the divine masculine, divine feminine. We create that. So I'm jumping around a little bit. Was that a bit of a surprise? Because I saw your faces. Probably not to one of you, because you we've talked about it before, but so watching the moon or having a relationship with the moon also shows us the expansion, contraction of life, right? The cycle, the moon cycle. What I'm talking about today and in this time is the lunar cycle. You know, I was inquisitive about this and I could feel it and hear it. And that's why I used to track. So I'm going back to what I started with. I used to track the magnetosphere of the Earth, because I would hear, and I do hear, sounds. And there was one particular sound that would come in and out at certain times, and I was curious about it. So I started tracking certain things in the atmosphere and whatnot. And it was the magnetosphere. And so I would hear when that shifts. Now, when it shifts, it generally is related to natural events. Sometimes they become disasters, like earthquakes, you know, weather conditions and whatnot. Look at the weather conditions, particularly America, but other places in the world. I used to track where the earthquakes were around the globe. I would hear them. I would hear the sound that linked to the conditions that were creating shifts. Now, why was I doing that? Any ideas? Again, there's no right or wrong, because there's multiple reasons. To understand myself and how I worked, because I worked a little differently to the people around me. So it's trying to navigate how I am in the world and what information and data was coming to me, and what was I supposed to do with it? And it would disturb me to some degree. And I can remember saying to my girls, what's the point of knowing when I can't do anything about it? Well, I thought I couldn't do anything about it. And then that's just part of the ego too. Like, is it for me to do anything about it? Because if we couple, we're all of it. If we couple into the center, of love and fear. That's unconditional love, the purity of unconditional love, which is all of it. So think about this. If you can, you know, it's like a breath. You're in that center and love and fear at the same time. And when you are, you can. You are that. So I'm going to bring that back a bit because I went off on a little tangent. So I was telling you about the time. So tracking this. So I'm seeing people around me and all of these ailments popping up out of nowhere. And I'm like, of course, because it's the time. And I was like, I wonder what the other energies are doing, because I've given away tracking and doing all of that because it just is. It is what it is. Does that make sense? There will be parts of you that want to control, and that's the animal soul, right? The lower triangle, your survival ego, wants to control, wants to be power over and, pardon me, whatnot. And that's okay, right? It's okay. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that's what it does. And then there's the other part of you that maybe some of you aren't even aware of, or you're right in it and it constricts you in another way. Because when you start getting towards the center, let's say, you know, oh, well, I won't say center of the storm because that's at these times not appropriate, but right, that point, the point where, so what just popped in was in relationships. The reason why people may have difficulty in relationships is they're not able to merge into each other. And the thing is, we get scared, we get afraid that we're going to lose ourselves. Or when we start shifting, do you see what I mean? It's like two becoming one. There's a point where the fear comes in to go, oh no, I'm going to lose myself. I'm going to die in some way. How I was is going to be different. So I'm going to die to myself or the other, or however that might come to you. Does it make sense? So as you're going through your spiritual experience, to get to that, there will be a point where you touch in and you come back, and your spiritual ego will say, well, your spiritual ego will say something to you to make it okay and to make yourself right, because it's spiritual ego. And what it'll do is make you speak in a way that you're better than everyone else, and you will not be able to see it. It's so beautiful. It's just so beautiful. Again, it's not right or wrong. Does that make sense? Talk to me. Have I lost anyone? It's the fear of your greatness, the fear of your magnificence, the fear of you being worthy to have a direct relationship with Source, with the beloved, with Hashem, with God, with what, you know, whatever you believe, into what you know, because you have a direct relationship with. But while you feel less than, even at that other part of the self, the ideal self, it's going to prevent you from being into that, you know, the crown to Source, right? Wearing your crown, so to speak. All right, I just need to go through my head of what I've said because I jumped around a little bit. So Friday's class is not about any of this, and yet it is. Friday's class is not mystical, but it is, I guess, the psychological aspects shared in a metaphoric, poetic, mystical way about the points or the aspects of the human, why you get stuck, what holds you in a particular cycle. Like these, as far as I'm concerned, because you could show me any model, any ancient way of knowing, and I'll pick out the same things. We're cross-referencing this. So it just happens to be that I'm sharing it at that time. So anyway, come and have a look, because we'll be doing a lot of, when I say exercise, it's more like expressive. You're doing it for yourself, right? Fun stuff. That reflections and what, but specific to give you some answers, right? So it's only a little mini workshop. It's giving you an idea. So you walk away with aspects of self, like why you are the way you are, how you are the way you are. These were my questions at 8 years old. Why do humans hurt each other? Why are we so cruel? Because all I saw, you know, in the ghetto back then, was people hurting each other. Also, you know, Vietnam had just finished, and all the veterans coming home. That's where when I was, you know, 6, 7, 8. And I don't know if you remember, but, you know, they weren't treated very well. And so all of that, why were people treating each other the way they were? And all around me and at school, and the fights and the, you know, the drug addiction of, you know, people around, you know, everything. And I just couldn't understand it because I didn't have that in my immediate family, but I was sort of plonked into this place on the earth that was all around me. So I spent my life asking those questions. Literally, well, from 7, 8 years old to now. I'm still asking those questions, but I ask in different ways and how I see it, because I work with the human, right? Pretty much near every day for over 30 years. I tried not to. I wanted to work with animals because all I saw was what the animal human was doing, right? So to understand that, I love the human now. Absolutely adore you all. I didn't when I was a kid because I couldn't understand. All I saw was the animals, these aggressive animals. Do you see? Sort of giving you an idea of where these programs come from, you know, my observations and asking these questions and spending my life looking for those answers in every discipline, in all the different ways of knowing. And now I just see it, the cross-referencing of them all. Hey, Nicole. So come, it's free, and we can start to see how the human comes into the world and the different layerings of that. And you can find out your own specifically on 3 different aspects, and go forward with that. And if you want more, then you know what you're looking at. And if you don't, you don't. But coming back to this time and what's happening. So let me just see if I can get I'm not sure if this will show up. I took some photos on my phone. This is October 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th. You see the yellow? Yellow itself, right? Yellow itself, usually when we would get around 3, I would see people around me, their ways of being would change. Most of the time, they would get moody. They would have a lot of their old stuff coming up, you know, reflecting on the past. As it sort of, and I'm going to go into this a little bit more, but I just want to tell you this first. And it hasn't been really up to 5 for quite a while. But as I said, I did stop tracking it, but I tracked it every day for years on end, these geomagnetics. And I told you why, because I hear them. I hear the subtle energies of the earth, of the planetary stuff, like all awesome stuff. But in some ways it's redundant. So I stopped talking about it. And there's other people out there that sort of do, yeah, okay, job. Right? You can track it. So I took this photo for you last night, and I didn't have time to get the site and all that. So I'll do that because some of you might want to look it up yourself. But so this is UTC time. So it's not Hawaiian time. So when I was looking this up, it was the 8th for them, but the 7th for me at night, like 10 p.m. at night. Okay, so there's a little, but it's still for you, for those of most of you that I can see watching, it was last night that it started to hit those peaks of the red. Don't even worry really about the red. You know why? Because once it starts to go into the yellow, what I've been seeing, even the higher green, for some of you that have a lot to cleanse, move through, navigate, befriend, starts to get. So I'm going to put that there for now. I'm going to tell you about the Schumann resonance. I don't think I took photos of this. See, I'm not that into the Schumann resonance because it relates to this, but the Schumann resonance is, I guess you could say, it's named after a scientist, Professor Schumann, but it's the frequency or the heartbeat of the earth, the pulse of the earth, right? And originally it was 7.83 hertz. Okay, frequency 7.83. So they usually say about 8 hertz now. Now, if you look at our brainwave, and I'm not going to go right into this because I think I'll lose some of you, but you know, those of you that like nerding out, our brainwaves and the, you know, delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, you know, did I miss any? Are these frequencies too? And so, you know, our happy human place is around 10, right? 10 hertz. So 8 to 10 hertz, somewhere around there. My point being, and you can go and look it up yourself, I'm just going on what I know and what I've studied in the past, and my own frequency and what my head runs at, because I've had my brain tested and all the rest of it, right? For how I work and how I move it from, you know, alpha. My baseline is alpha, high alpha. Most of you, it's beta or beta, depends what country you're from. And low beta is anxiety and, you know, all of this disruption frequencies. So anyway, if you want to know more about that, we can talk about it another time, but I don't want to spend all the time on that. My point being that the frequencies of the earth shifting are measured in through that Schumann resonance, right? From it's the expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. It doesn't go up and then stay there. It's a breath, like this. This is the KP index, which is the geomagnetic information, right? And I track this because I hear this. So technically, I hear the Schumann resonance and all that sort of stuff, but this is what you would track if you were an aurora chaser. Because once it gets into the yellow, you know there's going to be aurora. What the sky's doing now, I don't know. Up into the red, maybe go and look at that for yourself. I haven't had time. It's morning for me. I've had my, I've been busy all morning. So I haven't gone and looked it up. I don't really need to because I already know. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but if you like those pictures and whatnot, wait. In the next few days, they'll be coming out because of the energy, the frequency. So anyway, we've got the Schumann resonance. If I can show you, let me just see if I can show you this. I didn't take photos, but do I have the app on here? Yes, I do. Okay. So the top one is the date. Oh, sorry, reflection. Hang on, how can I do it like that? You can't really see the color. Hang on. My fingerprints all over my phone. Hang on. I'll do it this way. There you go. I'm trying to show you the color. Oh, there you go. See how there's so much white? White's the highest. On this, I can't read the numbers. But again, let me see if I can get the color thing up for you. Oh, there you go. You see at the side here, the colors? That's the graph, okay? So this is monitoring the Schumann resonance of the Earth. So some people follow that. That's the spectrogram. I follow the geomagnetic because I'm, my lineage is magnetics. That's just how I go. Now, why is that important to you? Why is it important to you, do you think? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about this, and then I'm going to pull it in and tell you what you can do right now. And as we go into the mastermind, we'll wrap up the live in a moment, but I'll say this. As the frequency is rising, some of you will feel it as it's coming up. Some of you will feel it when it's coming back down. It does this. It's the pulse of the Earth. Okay, the Schumann resonance. So it's going from, 7 point whatever. It may go under, but it usually goes up and comes back to that, around there, right? Which is what our brainwaves do or can do. I'm just seeing I'll read that in a moment. I just got a comment. Took me out of the place. So when we shift our state of consciousness, let's just say it like that. When we're shifting our state of consciousness, we're shifting the frequency that we're tapping into, or we're able to be. So at gamma, over 30 hertz, right? Gamma, so when I go high gamma, that's the mystic, that's the sitting in grace, that's the where it's high consciousness. Does it make sense? And some people, when they start to raise in that frequency, it's a lot for them. They can't handle it. Even when you go into a higher alpha, you know, a lot of you, your eyes will twitch and you'll feel, you know, it's like, when you go into gamma, it's faster. It's like your whole body, right? You're gonna get used to it, you know, and then you just sort of in the ocean. You are all of it. Do you see my point? So all of these different things around us, I'm going to pull it together because I'm sort of being very broad here. All of these things, what the moon and the sun are doing, what the planets are doing, what the comet at the moment, right? The time we're in gives us the opportunities. There's times in the year that we have more opportunity to connect to source, to be closest to, like when the sun, the moon, and the earth will be closest on, I think I said the 17th, didn't I? Yeah, the 17th of October, the partial lunar eclipse where the sun, earth, and moon are closest. But we see what we're seeing is reflected in ourselves. Do you understand? What's happening out there is happening in here. That's why when I see the portals, and as I was going through my awakening ascension, you know, soul embodiment and all the rest of it, and I would see things, I still do, outside of me, right? In the field. And I used to think it was the place. Hear this. I used to think it was the place. And I realized it's within me. I'm seeing what's within me. So those of you who've done ISP, reflect back to this, because I think the ones that I can see on here have done intuitive studies. I didn't teach it in all of them though. So we would first learn how to see the viewing screen. Do you remember? Then what did I teach you? So we had the viewing screen. So once you have the viewing screen, then you have the seeing it all inside your head. Do you remember? Yeah, come back to you. Then what was next? Where you can see within your whole body. Well, when you see with your eyes open in the field, the phenomena, you're experiencing externally what you are internally. Now, that is true. Did you get that? Like that you could contemplate on for a long time. Right? So when we see an eclipse or the moon, or we see somebody, that's why somebody sent me a beautiful message the other day. It's a lady I used to work with when I was a social worker, senior social worker. She was a care worker, and we worked a lot with, you know, very young infants that were extremely traumatized. Anyway, she saw one of my posts and said, I look beautiful and really healthy, right? I was like, oh, that's nice. I didn't say, oh, that's nice. Because whether you love me or hate me, whether you think I'm an ugly creature or a beautiful creature, it's redundant to me. It matters what I think. Do you know what I mean? It's like, but what I replied to her was, she can see it, so she is it. She has that within her, whether she can see it or not. So when you're able to see it in someone else, it's like the I am not. Let me just, I'm just going to pull this over because Miss Nicole's in the house. As you are, the world shall be. Oh, hallelujah, sister, yes. To give my daughter a break from brief emotional meltdown last night after soccer practice. Well, you know, there's a lot going on. So let me get back to that. Thanks, Nicole, for reminding me. So as you are, the world shall be. So as there's some shifting in the frequency, where we're at, and again, no judgment on yourself, okay? When it's expanding, you may feel the constriction as it's expanding in frequency. How many of you have been feeling blissy and like so connected? It's okay if you haven't, right? So some of you will be feeling like, you know, the beloved has just come and, you know, graced you. You know what I mean? Like touched you, and it's like, oh, okay. So you see, you will hear people, if you go Googling any of this, now you have this little bit that's really important, because people will be saying, oh, there's a big shift and you're going to feel like shit. Are you? Because in this time, you have the capacity to be, because you are closest to source, and the sun and the moon are showing you, and the earth, hear me, are showing you what's possible, what you have within you that you can touch into. Oh, I feel like preaching today, right? I can feel it coming in. Do you see? It's showing us. What are these pictures showing us? The potential. If we're playing down here, what the potential is. You can read it however you like, but in this time, many traditions are preparing for the return. You hearing me? Right? So you can look at it as the return of, I think this is going to be another one where it's going to be a short, I'll go over it, but I feel like this is important enough to stay on the live. Like, it's all that I'm about. Assisting you to be at the head. Know that you have the capacity to crown, right? Supreme consciousness, supreme relationship, closest to source, whatever that is to you. Right? While reflecting on the past year of who you were, who you are through that year from your higher, I'm going to say higher self, but it's like your ideal self, like what you want, all that what you want. And this would be the process. So I'm going to take you through this in a moment on the we'll go off the live, but just to set other people up if they want to start considering it, is that we look at who, what, how, when we want to step into, connect into that ideal self, that highest divine, you know, of what we are. And then we reflect on how we've been in the last year. What maybe we didn't reach, fell short of. From that place, you see, we're not going, you're hopeless because you didn't do it, or like maybe you did wrong, whatever that is. But you're looking at it from a place of your greatness. So that, again, it's the bookends. It's the bookends. If you're starting and you reflect, and then you can bring that through from this higher place, or not even higher, this ideal place, your ideal place, not what I say. Who do you want to be in the world? What do you want to be in the world? How do you want to be in the world? If as you are, the world shall be, what are you complaining about in the world? And how does that reflect on how you are and how you have been? You can reflect. So, you know, you start doing this now. If your belief is that you do this in the new year in January, you know, you're ahead of the pack. We have the energy right now. I've shown you in very small snippets what's happening astrologically, you know, the planetary wise, well, astrologically not, but, you know, there's a comet. You know, the sun, the moon, the earth, the alignment there. How we bring ourselves into alignment with source. If that's what you hear, if you're watching, you probably are, because I'm a mystic. Like, hello. I don't know what you think I'm going to be talking about. Of course, I'm going to be talking about our relationship with all there is. Bringing up the points in time, and that's what a lot of the rituals are about. That's what a lot of the religious beliefs along the way are about. Remembering, but because they've forgotten a lot of it, they're not teaching you from the mystical aspects. They're teaching you from a rational, what's read in the book aspects. Do you hear me? You get to miss the point. Which, isn't that what sin is, when you miss the mark? Oh, did you hear what I just said? Like, really? I basically said that some of your leaders are teaching you how to sin. Because you're missing the mark. You're missing the mark. You're missing the point. You're missing where you're going. Do you know where you're going? Do you know where you've been? Because where you've been informs where you're going. We're reversing it, reverse engineering it, where you want to go and where you've been, and pulling them together so it's in, I want to say rectification. Is that a word? That's what came to me. I don't know. Maybe Google that. Rectification. Emma's giving a little nod. So, right, that's what came in. Rectification. Whew, right? So we're not saying, you stuffed up there and, look how you spoke to your children, or maybe even you did, right? You did something that maybe you feel shameful or guilty or whatever. From the place of the divine ideal self that you are standing in this moment, right? There's a process to do that, but you can just reflect on it. If we bring it into just everyday language, I could say, some of you back in the day have done the values with me. What do you value in the world? How you know this? So when I was in my 20s, I used to say things like, you can tell your values by looking at your bank balance, your bank, what's it called? Statement? Thanks, Revel, original lips. Right, you can look at your statement. This is the, I guess, 101. Look at your bank statement. Where does your energy go? Money is energy. It will show you what you value. Reflect on that. If it's not your value, then shift it. I learned this very early. You look at my bank, like when I do my taxes, right? Where my money goes is on the mission. Technology to talk to you, right? My own development to be able to, right? Where is your value? So on the next level, you can start looking at the 3, pull it down to 3. Maybe you do 5, but you pull it down to 3. Where does your time go? Like, look at what you do in a day. No judgment. It's reflection, reflexive practice, theory and practice together, reflexive praxis. It's my old academic days coming back in, right? Praxis, theory and practice. So we're looking at something without the judgment. We're observing it and going, all right, so I spend a lot of time doing this or doing that or doing that. It will show you what you value. If it isn't what you value, you get to have a conversation with maybe yourself or your partner or how you are in the world. And I don't fight about chores. It's come up a couple of times the last few days, but I was very adamant when I met Eric what my values were and what I'm here to do and what my mission is. And it's not to, yes, house stuff has to be done. I've literally filled the bathtub up and am soaking my shower curtain, but I'm not going to spend, because it's a really nice shower curtain, like it's a nice, yeah, anyway, it needs a clean. So it's soaking there, but I'm not there scrubbing and all the rest of it. While I was doing that, I was listening to one of my spiritual teachers, only 8 minutes of it, but do you see what I'm saying? Like, if I'm doing other things, I'm still on my connection. I'm still on mission. If I want to get, so I work out often. So while I was doing it this morning, I wrote some notes for you. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, where is your value? I'm not saying you have to be me, because when I started doing this, sometimes I would have, family. So my children were at the top, possibly. Then sometimes my working out, because I was, building muscle. And that was my focus for quite a while, because it took up so much of my time because of what I had to eat to build muscle as a vegetarian, all of that sort of stuff, right? So you got to think about that. Where is your time going? How long is the time going there, right? That wasn't going to be my whole life. It's like that they can move and shift. And maybe you look at this over every 3 or 6 months, and, there's part of you that's going to kick out on that, and that's fine. But it links, you see how that's a more everyday way of looking at, before what I was telling you is more mystical, right? It's all there. But it is the same thing. I'm just using more layman's terms of, like, what are your values? Where do you put your energy? So in this moment in time, we have the opportunity. We're so close. We're closest to crown connection, right? That we can do what I just said with that potential. And at the end of the time, which is over the 10 days, which, what I said was the 11th, 12th. I mean, technically, I guess it's the formal end would be the 12th, but then we go into the next cycle, right? So right now we're just in this 10-day period, which corresponds with the 10 Sephirot, right? The 10 eminences of the beloved, of Hashem, of God. And each one of those has a value. It has all the information within it. But that's complex, right? So what I'm bringing it down to is, what do you want? Who do you want to be? What's the ideal self? I'm not expecting you to just go, oh yeah, it's that right now. What's the ideal self? What's the mission? So for me, it's refining. It's an opportunity to refine, because how many of us just go through to the next year, through to the next year, through to the next year, or through to the next month? The moon gives you an opportunity to do this every month. It's just that this particular time is the vast energy, which I'm showing you, right? I've shown you this way. I've shown you the Schumann resonance. I'm showing you to look out your window. I'm saying, you know, feel it in your body. Are you feeling blissgasms, or are you feeling constriction? And as it lowers, which it looks like it's starting to lower, I haven't looked at it since this morning. Yeah, you can see here. See how it's going back into, what time was that? 9 a.m. But I don't know what it is now, right? I don't have the live one up. My point being, as it starts to come down back in, don't be surprised. Some people feel it on the expansion. Some people feel it on the contraction. Some of you will feel it on both, right? So if you haven't felt a darn thing so far, and it starts coming in today and the next week, right? It just is. It just is. You're okay. Right? Connect. Just come into, just connect. Okay. I'm going to finish on this, and I'm going to go over to the Zoom and just really get you anchored into these questions and where you're going forward. Oh, I just lost it. What I was going to tell the live. No, it's gone. All right. Other than Friday, come to the free mini workshop. We're more likely to go 3 hours. I think it says 2 hours, but I was working out I'm very prepared. I've been working it out, because the exercises have to be like, and you know, we want to have time for conversation and whatnot. So wherever you're watching this from, go to the link in there and sign up. It's free. And obviously at the end, I will make an offer into the 6-month program, but through the workshop, it's not sales or anything. It's literally you're doing your own work, guided and facilitated by me. And it's imperative for every human to access this information, in my opinion. So it's just another way to show you and give you a glimpse into who you are. And, you know, it's okay to be scared of that. It's okay. It's love and fear. But you don't have to go full deep diving, because it's only, we're just touching in to the pieces that create behavior and ways of knowing, ways of being in the world, so that you then can put on your crown and go, okay, is this serving me? Yes. Okay, off you go. No, here are some resources. Here is what you can do. And as we go through that program, I've got about 4, possibly 5 different techniques in each section, so that you'll have tools. Okay. So I thought by telling you what I wanted to tell you would come back, but it didn't. Let me just scan through my notes. There was one thing, it was like, I looked down and this is what I saw. The divine soul wants to be rooted to the beloved, the divine soul. So your ideal self, your divine soul, wants to, longs to, yearns for that connection, that anchoring, that rooting. The animal soul operates in self-interest. It's based on independence. What we're doing, in a nutshell, is working them together. This is why we're not angry and attacking and trying to kill off the animal soul. Because I don't know if I used to write this on the board a lot, right? Animal, divine. This is the crossover. This is the 8, in other words, but it's also the 2 triangles of the higher aspects of self and the lower aspects of self in those vortexes. But looking at them on the side looks like a triangle. They're literally vortexes. And when they merge together, you've got that huge toroidal field. So look that up if you don't know what I'm talking about, but it's the connecting the 2. So you have the human, let's call it that way, if the animal soul is offensive to you. And if it is, then look at that for yourself, because it's what you are. You're a mammal. We are, not you, we are mammals, and we have animal instincts. And when they take over, we can get into a little strife. Could be fun, but the after effects are often not what we, want to. So bringing the divine soul into the animal soul, merging together, right? Heaven and earth. So I think we'll end the live on that. And I'll pop over just for a little bit. It's 11:11. And yeah, I'll leave it at that. Unless there are any questions. Not sure who's watching on the other things now. Let me see if oh, Gabrielle's here too now. All right. All right. So Gabrielle, I hope you can come on Friday. Not sure. I didn't see your name. Calling you out. It's free. But if you can't, I plan on running the free one a couple of times for people who can't do it, because I don't think I'm going to do a replay because of the type of work it is. So I'll run the live a couple of times before the actual main program starts, but that's the plan. So this Friday, and I think we'll wrap it up there because time's getting away and I have to get to the others on the Zoom to start going deeper into the questions and what might be coming up for you. So until then, find time, make time. You have time, right? It's man-made. Our calendar, man-made. What I'm talking about is not man-made. It's out there. Go and look. And look at the moon every night and see where it's at in its diminishment. The feminine and the drop. It's diminished. And then she comes into glory. And there's a diminishment. She comes in. The cycle shows you what's in us. So take this opportunity to have a moment to be in the time of the crown, the head to the crown. And just with that longing, and if you don't have that, but the ones I'm looking at, I think do. Most people have it, but it's so deeply concealed, like when the moon goes away. It's concealed. And then it's revealed. And that's the revelation. So revealing within ourselves the capacity for that divine soul, connecting to that ideal self, what you want to move forward to. Notice if there's, like, as we do it, so we're going to do it in a minute, but if you're doing it on your own, as you do it, notice where the fears come up, where the sensations come in, because it'll show you whether you've got a, pardon me, yeah, your animal will push you to the divine. Yes. Yeah. We need both. We are both. It's about bringing them together. It's like the masculine and feminine, heaven and earth. So the ability to bring more of the soul, divine self, into the vessel. The klipa is the shell, right? The shell. And what's inside the shell, the hard nuts, the shell of the coconut, the shell of the pistachio, the shell, right? With the klipa, the shell. And underneath the layers is the essence, right? It's what grows, what expands, what goes forward. All right. So on that note, may the blessings be. And cool. So Gabriel, oh, you're looking on, so Gabriel, go to, I'm not sure it's on YouTube, because you're watching from YouTube. So go to Rhombus Healing Arts Facebook page or my personal Facebook page, whatever one that you're on, and go to the live, this live, and then scroll up, you'll see the link. And if you can't find it, just message me, I'll send it. So, and we can hang out on Friday. Woohoo! All right, may the blessings be, and till we meet again, much love. Oh. All right, my WMM team.